Welcome to the Week 8 training video put out by the Iowa High School Athletic Association. My name is Monte Tilgner, and I'll be taking you through 12 plays, most of which occurred this past week. So let's go ahead and get started. The first 4 plays we're going to look at involve offensive holding. We've been talking a lot about that this year, especially these last 2 weeks, and trying to focus on making sure we understand some philosophies behind offensive holding, as well as just what to look for and to be able to increase our threshold of what makes a quality offensive holding foul. So in this first play, we're going to have this is our tight end on the left side, and he's just going to take a guy and just from the side, just ride him down to the ground. But he doesn't grab him, doesn't restrict him in any way. So let's take a look at this. So he gets him. We should just showing who should be looking at this action. Definitely our line of scrimmage official until this runner is a threat to foul or be fouled. We want our line of scrimmage officials looking at blocks outside and ahead of the runner. Once that runner gets where he is close enough that someone could follow him or he could follow them, then that line of scrimmage official is going to have to pick up progress and the action around that runner. But our referee should definitely be on this front side block. So we get him turned to the side here, and it looks bad, but that's the thing. We need to really see what happens here. We need to see the entire block. If we just see the end of it, we might think it's a foul, and we can never throw if we think it's a foul and we didn't see the entire play. We need to see the action from start to finish, or we can throw on something that's not a foul because we didn't see how the action started. So we don't have any kind of jerk or twist there. That player's just trying to get to the outside, and now this this blocker just does a great job of just driving him and basically riding him down to the ground, but he's not restricting him, he's not grabbing him. So this is one that was properly not flagged by the crew. Good work. And those are the types that we need to see the whole thing. We need to be able to make that proper judgment to know that we do not have a foul on that play. Here we have an incorrect call for offensive holding. It's just not enough. It's not there. And then we have one that should have been called an offensive holding on a different player. So let's take a look at this. Point out here, we'll take a look at 2 different aspects. First one we're going to look at is, first thing talking about is our who needs to see this. Anytime we've got a receiver coming back to the inside, that's a high alert for a blindside block. And as a back judge, anytime you see a receiver coming inside, you have to keep your eyes on him. That's your number one responsibility. That's your highest probability of a foul. Right now, our line of scrimmage official can also be on this because, again, we got a handoff. We got a runner in space. Oh, I don't know what that extra arrow is. Let's see if we can get rid of that. Okay, there we go. So right now, this is our tight end, which as soon as the back judge clears this guy who came to the inside, who's now turning upfield in space, we can get off of that. Again, we want to transition from potential fouls, and once we clear those as we no longer have a potential for a foul, we want to transition to another block. So this guy is now in space. So our back judge should now focus on this front side block, which is by our tight end. And this is going to be, you can see right now, that's a twist. Okay, so he's outside the frame. He's twisted him. His feet are here. His upper body's here. So he's totally twisted this defender. And this is an offensive hold. Here's our runner, coming right here. This is going to be right at the point of attack. So this is a foul that we would want called. And he gets by there, and now this is where we should be shifting our focus to now. Again, our line of scrimmage official right now, we have a runner in space. The great line of scrimmage officials are going to not officiate air. When that runner, that is their responsibility, is in space and free of foul, they're going to be watching blocks. Peripherally, as soon as they know that someone is close enough to him for a foul possibility, then they're going to shift their eyes back to that runner for a face mask or another type of foul that could occur by the runner or on the runner. Our back judge definitely should be transitioning to this block. And this is called by our line of scrimmage official. And this is one that I think our back judge should have been able to help. So what we have here, if you watch, we're all good. It's all good. It's all good. The only thing that we possibly have right there, we've got a little bit of a tug. Okay, but that's just not near enough. It doesn't really restrict this guy hardly at all. So that's one that, again, back judge, you're definitely on that block. If you see that and you feel there's no way that was enough to have a foul, then come over and have a discussion, with your line judge, and let's get that flag picked up. All right, this is a great philosophical question or play, and if we have a hold that occurs, remember a lot of times, almost always, holding is a two-step process. So we want to see what we feel is big enough to be a hold, and then we want to check the status of the ball, because this is a great example of a hold. It's big enough, but when we check the status of the ball, the play is ending. So if that's the case, we don't want a flag down. It is one we could talk to that player about. All right, so we'll see it here. It's going to be on this player right here. Okay, that's definitely a hold, but let's go back and look at the timing. So again, you need to see that it's enough for a foul, and then you need to check the status of the ball. So this is enough restriction for a hold, but when we see that we have what would be a foul, which is right about now. Okay, so now we continue, and now we glance back, and the runner's going down. So that's a time when philosophically we do not want to have a flag down. Let's look at it in full speed, and you put your eyes on that hold, and then as soon as you say, yep, that's enough, transition to the runner, and you'll see he's on his way to being tackled. Foul, tackled. No time in there that no time delay enough that we would want to flag that. So great job of passing on that on the crew, specifically sent in to talk about the discussion of we got to hold, but the player's going down at that time. Okay, this is a great one for talking about who we're watching on scrimmage kicks. This crew does an excellent job on the snap. Our headline judge immediately is going downfield. That's the wrong arrow. Immediately is going downfield, which he should be. Our headline judge waits until that ball's kicked, and then he's going downfield hard. But remember, we got things we got to watch as we're doing so. So just watch this action. This is our headline judge's key. All right, this is his responsibility as he's going downfield. And this is a takedown. And this is one that if we have a takedown, we're going to flag it unless that play is dead at that time, just like the previous play, okay? So in this case, we've got a takedown during the kick, and we need to report this properly. We need to understand, what we have here, and we need to understand where we're going to enforce this from. So post-scrimmage kick, you need to understand when that occurs, what makes it a post-scrimmage kick foul. And this is a post-scrimmage kick foul. All right, so we have a foul that's during the kick, and it's beyond the line of scrimmage by team R, okay, before the end of the kick, and that's what we have. So when you report this to referee, you want to report it during the kick, holding, return team number 29, and then that should be processing with everybody. If you're on the 020, we have PSK. So in this case, we have a dead ball spot. Our ball bounces out of bounds. Let's say it's at the 12. So we're going to go, from the 12-yard line, we're going to back it up. That's going to be a half the distance foul. We're going to be snapping the ball from the 6-yard line from position 1. We know we had illegal scrimmage kicks. So we're going to be on the snap. Those are all things you need to think about, okay? But as we're coming downfield, again, if we watch these officials, they do an excellent job of releasing and going down the field hard, but we need to be watching the action of our return, of the blockers during that time. Okay. Next play. This is a really interesting one set in. Appreciate it. This is a scrimmage kick that doesn't cross the line of scrimmage. So, one, we need to know if it crosses or not, and what by definition means it's crossed the line of scrimmage. And two, what K can do if it does not, or if it returns back across the line of scrimmage, or back behind the line of scrimmage after crossing the line of scrimmage. And one thing for those of you that work high school and college, this is a difference. So in high school, it doesn't matter at all if that ball ever crosses or crossed the line of scrimmage. It can cross and come back. It doesn't have to cross. It doesn't matter as long as K picks up this ball behind the line of scrimmage, they can legally advance it. So see, we got a bad snap. We got bad weather. It's raining sideways. This guy punts it, pretty much goes straight up in the air, comes down, and you can see where that bounces. It's bounced. The first bounce is about 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, never crosses, and it's 1 yard behind the line of scrimmage still. This is Team K. They pick this ball up, and they just hold on to it and hand it to an official. Well, if they understood the rules, guess what? They could be running with that ball, and if they get a first down, it's going to be a first down. If they pick it up and advance it, but they're short of the line to gain, then it's going to be Team R's ball. So understanding the rules and knowing to hold on to that whistle, and if they give it up, if they give up the play, then it's dead. So that's what happened on this one. Next play. So we got the rule of pushing runners and so on, which we're really going to stay away from, but this is one we want called, okay? If they ever lift or carry or lift and pull a runner, that's an aiding the runner that we would want called. So let's take a look at this one. This is so interesting. Big lineman, and he's like, "Oh, you're stopped? Nope, I'm just going to pick you up and carry you." And he carries him. The guys, if we go back, when he picks him up, his teammates' feet are like a foot off the ground. And from the 18-yard line, this guy's feet do not touch the ground again until the 12. So for about 6 yards, he has his teammates' feet up in the air as he carries him. He's still involved in pushing him there, but the carrying's the issue. And he goes down at the 3. So again, what do we have? Well, we got to know the rule, and that's going to be enforced from where he aided the runner, which is where he picked him up from. So that's from the 18-yard line, and it's going to be a 5-yard foul. All right, we end up with the ball in, dead in the field of play. So he picks him up at the 18 at position 3, right in the middle of the field there, position 3. So we're going to go 5 yards back from the 18 to the 23, position 3, and we're going to have a live clock. We're going to repeat the down. I don't know what down it was, but we're going to repeat the down. So this is the type of action we would want called for aiding the runner. Apparently in another JV game in our area, in Northwest Iowa, we had a lineman who literally picked up his teammate at the 3-yard line and threw him into the end zone. So that's another one that was properly flagged. Other than that, we want to stay away from it. Okay, next play. Roughing the passer. This is just a very, very solid call for roughing the passer. So let's take a look. Okay, and we got our flag there. All right, so we've got a touchdown. So what's our enforcement? Well, we got to understand the rules in high school football. Any foul by the non-scoring team can be enforced on the try or succeeding kickoff. But usually they're going to want to take this on the succeeding kickoff. Now, if they want to, if they want to go for 2, then they might want that ball from the 1.5. But let's go back and take a look at this play. Look at some mechanics things. So first of all, Let's take a look at our line of scrimmage officials. Okay, so we've got 5 guys in going out for passes. Now, we don't have anyone going deep initially, so I'm great with our line of scrimmage officials holding the line of scrimmage. You can definitely see, I got the arrow good. We can definitely see, looking at the bill of the hat, we are not looking at the backfield here. We don't want to be looking here. We're doing a good job of looking at the action with these guys. Okay, and up here we can't see it, but just looking at his his footwork there, it sure looks like he's looking at the action here. Okay, and think about it. We don't really need to be keeping an eye on this guy in wide open space when we've got a guy here who's got somebody coming at him. So we want to be watching this action, and then we'll see peripherally what we need to adjust to. Okay, and now let's continue through the play. We got a pass going to this receiver running the skinny post, and we definitely have a late hit on this quarterback. Only thing, be careful throwing the flag. That flag comes really close to hitting that player, and remember, it doesn't matter. We're tacking this on. It's that spot means nothing at all. So toss that flag. Here, just in the general vicinity, but not close enough that's going to hit a player. And that way we don't have that possibility of something happening, a player getting hit. Next play, a couple plays sent in by a crew, and just talking about trick plays. So trick plays must be 100% clean. They have to be run perfectly. If they're not executed perfectly, then we have a foul. In this one, this is not even close to clean. So this should be a false start. Let's talk about why. So let's take a look. So we've got, this looks like a regular formation, right? Everyone's down. Center's got his hands on the ball. Linemen are down. They don't have their hands down, but their hands are on their knees. But now we shift. Okay, so if we know the rules of false starts, it is a false start if any player on his line between the snapper and the player on the end of the line, after having his hands on or near the ground, and that's technically talked about as at or below the knees, moves his hand or makes any quick movement. So we talked about these guys being locked in. They're locked in, actually. When this center puts his hands on the ball, these guys right here, these 6 linemen, they're locked in. Okay, so they can't shift anymore. So the instant they shift, boom, flag, false start. Okay, got to make sure we understand that rule. So this is one. We didn't have a flag. Luckily, they did not score, but they did, get another play from the 2 or 3 yard line. Good job by our line of scrimmage official getting to the goal line and then coming back after the play's over. That's exactly how we want to do it. That goal line's the money line. That's where we got to be. A couple kick plays here. A couple things to discuss. A lot of times blindside blocks, right? So on this play, our line of scrimmage official does a good job. He's hustling downfield, get as far down as we can. One thing, just stay in the white. So if you can get back a little further, but definitely stay in the white, and then you can officiate, these blocks that we're looking at. We're going to look at this block right here first. This is not a blindside block. This is with open hands. It's not forcible, and it's not a block in the back as it's from the side. We know that if we're not in chase mode, that forcible contact would have to be square inside the numbers to be a block in the back. So if we just run this one through, and it's kind of hard to see. It's a little blurry, so I'll go back and go in slow motion here. Okay, but as this guy enters the screen, you can see definitely from the side. Okay, that's a good shot right there. And you can see that's a push. That's not a crushing, block with the shoulders that make it a blindside block. We do flag that, so that's why we want to get a good look at that. And if we were back a little further, we might have a better look. This one is a blindside block. It's a huge brick in the hand by this player. It's got to be seen by our back judge, maybe the umpire, because our H is going to be coming up the line here, and he's got to be watching this runner for where he goes out of bounds, and he's got that progress. So this block has to be seen by an off official. Back judges, I've told you all year long. You are primary on these kind of blocks because you do not have progress. You do not have the runner. You need to see this guy in the brick with a brick in his hand. And there it is. Let's go back and look at it in slow motion so we can see it good. I know we can't see things in slow motion, but if we're watching this because we see this guy going the wrong way and we know that's our potential for a foul, then we're going to see him lay that guy out right there. Two guys go flying. And that is a block in the back that we would want called. Next one here. Again, it's just some positioning. Remember, back judge, to be in the perfect position, we want you 7 yards deep and 7 yards to the side. When that guy's making the catch, it's going to help you better on a muff or a catch. And also, if you're standing here flat-footed and this ball, he decides to let it go and this ball bounces at the 10, 12, 13, whatever, there's a very, very good chance that ball could get to that goal line. And if it does, you're not going to beat it there. And that goal line is critical. You need to know if that breaks the goal line, if a Team K player is running, if this Team K player here ends up running down and from the 1 bats that ball backwards, which we know would be legal, would not be a foul, then we need to know if he did that before that ball crossed the goal line or after it crossed the goal line. That's the difference between a touchback and that ball being down somewhere, possibly inside the 5-yard line. So that's where we want you position-wise. As we continue forward here, we're going to see this block, and this looks pretty punishing, but if we look at it in slow motion, which we will, this guy is totally off balanced and kind of on his knees when he gets hit, so it looks worse than it is. Okay, that looks pretty bad, but let's go back and take a look at it now. This defender is putting on the brakes, and he's got his knees on the ground when this contact occurs. And look, he's got both hands. He's pushing him down. So that's not a foul, even though it looked pretty bad. This one here, this has got this is red flag, a brick in the hand here, but he ends up just pushing this guy from the side, which makes this a legal block. So let's continue with that. We'll come back, and it just looks ugly because we got 2 players that go down. But that's why we need to see this action from the start. If we just react and see, we've got 2 guys on the ground where had to be a foul on that, well, that's a problem. So this guy's coming from the side. There's no way you can say a block in the back. He's coming at this angle, and this guy's running at this angle. There's no way he could block that player in the back. Okay, just a push from the side. You can see his arms are still out there contacting him from the side. And then 3 guys go down. We need to see it to be able to make the proper judgment to know we don't have a flag, because otherwise we bring back a great kickoff or a great punt return, and we're going to give them the ball at the -35, -40 instead of 6 points. So I think this is our last play, but just a great understanding of the rule for momentum exception. So let's take a look. I hope we know what the momentum exception is. If you don't, something you should cover with your crew. So basically, anytime we've got a situation like this where we've got a fumble recovery, a catch of a ball that is possessed inside the 5-yard line, and the runner ends up going into the end zone and not getting out, and it doesn't really matter how he doesn't get out. Okay, in this case, he gets tackled. He could run around for he could end up saying, I think I can run this out. He could run all the way over here and then start up field and then get hit, or at the last second in the end zone still down the ball. And all of that is, doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is he possessed it inside the 5. His original momentum took him into the end zone. The ball was declared dead in the end zone. And if that's the case, then the next snap is going to be where he possessed that ball. Now, if we can put this guy in the end zone, if it's right on the edge of that goal line or not, make it a touchback. In this case, he definitely possesses this ball, at the 1, maybe the 2, and goes in. We got to put that 1 at the 2-yard line. So don't don't put it at the half-yard line. You know, put it where he first. If you rule momentum, put it where he first touches that ball. You know, the touching led to the possession, so that would be one where we can put that ball on the 2-yard line and be perfect. All right, this is our last play. So, incomplete forward pass anytime the ball is tossed out in front of the quarterback and not possessed cleanly. This is that jet sweep stuff, right? So on these jet sweeps, there's a couple options. One, they hand the ball off to a guy in front of them, or two, they toss it. And they basically toss it up in the air. But if they toss it up in the air, it's considered a forward pass. So if that guy ends up not catching it cleanly, bobbles it, 4 yards later, the ball goes to the ground, we got an incomplete pass. If it goes to the ground right away, we've got an incomplete pass. So, like my comment here is often this might be a crew call. It might be, who saw it. The referee should kind of see it, but sometimes you might be straight lined. So it might be one to piece together as a crew, but it's one we need to, we need to make sure, again, we do not want cheap turnovers. The defense recovers this ball. Okay, so we need to know, was this a pitch, which is a forward pass, which that definitely is, okay? Or was it a handoff? The only way this is not an incomplete pass and is a fumble is if he hands that ball off. If there is any air in that ball, okay, any air in that toss, then it's an incomplete pass. So I believe the crew came together, and I think they ended up going with an incomplete pass. Not 100% sure, but that's what we need to make sure we do. So that's our plays. Just really good plays sent in. So hopefully these are helping us to continue to improve as a staff, as a state. And if you value the videos, if you think this was a good video, give me a thumbs up in the YouTube. And hey, playoffs are right around the corner, starting this week. So hopefully you received a playoff game. If not, something to continue to work towards for future years. But if you got a playoff game, congratulations, and prepare harder than you have the whole year, and be ready, because there's nothing like the excitement of playoff football. We've got one, maybe two more training tapes that we'll be putting out this year. And so from the state and myself, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again soon.